Next important chapter in income tax, we are going to discuss about house property income. Actually, this is the second head of income in income tax. The first one is computation of a salary income. Second head is head in the sense heads of income, not our chapter heading. This is heads of income. In this, we are going to calculate the income from the house property. See, we should know one important point in this chapter. I am working in a company, from that, for that, I am getting the salary. I am doing the business, from the business, I am getting the profit. I am doing the profession, from the profession, I am getting the professional gains. I am having the capital asset. If the capital asset is transferred, from that, I am getting the capital gains. And another one is I am having the deposit. If the deposit gives me the interest, if the share gives the dividend, if the debenture gives the interest, then that one is taxable under the head other sources. Whereas particularly for income tax, for income from the house property, that income is not the amount of income by transfer of the house property. This is the house fetched with the income. That income, it has to be derived, it has to be calculated by way of considering various things. Right? Before going to that, let us have the basic meaning of income from the house property. The property should consist of any building or land appurtenant thereto. Even if it is a thatched roof, if it is the ordinary or normal hut, right? So that is also called as the income from the house property. If the house with thatched roof is let out, if the normal hut is let out, then that rent is taxable under the head of income from house property. And one important thing we should know in this, the assessee should be the owner of the property. If I am having the house, for that house I am supposed to be taxable if I am getting any rent. If I am using the house for my own purpose, then I am not taxable, that value is 0. But if I am having the house, if I am getting any rental income from that house, then it is taxable. So, assessee should be the owner of the house. Then another one is, the property should not be used for the purpose of any business or the profession. In my house, one part I am using it for my business, one part I am using it for my profession. Then, and another one part I am using it for my own occupation. The value of the property is 0 in income from a house property, because the portion what I am using it for my own occupation is a self-occupied property. It is considered as 0. Whereas one part is let out for any purpose. Let out for business carried out by another person. Let out for profession carried out by another person. If it is the let out for the rent, then that attracts the tax coming under this head of income. And what the portion I am using it for my own occupation, not taxable in this head. What the portion I am using it for my own business, that is not taxable under this head. That will goes to business or profession. So we should be very clear for judging the income from the house property. Property should be there, the building or the land appurtenant thereto should be there, then assessee should be the owner of the property, then that property should be let out for the rent. Whereas if it is let out for the sub-rent, I have let out the property to Mr. A and Mr. A has subletted the property to Mr. B. What the rent paid by Mr. B for the sublet, that is not my income. My point of dealing is only with Mr. A, and what the rental income I am receiving from Mr. A, that is taxable for me. Whereas the same one on that one part is subletted to Mr. B. Subrent is receiving, Mr. A is receiving, then that is not my botheration, that is not taxable in my hands. Then another one important thing is assessee should be the owner. Owner in the sense it includes freehold and leasehold rights. Any freehold leasehold rights attached with that property, that is also considered. That includes deemed ownership. What is that deemed ownership? See, we are all well aware that the term called deemed university. We know university, Madras University. Deemed university is Vinayaga Missions Deemed University, SRM Deemed University. What is that deemed university? It is not the university, it is considered to be the university. That is deemed university. Likewise, the person is not the actual true owner of the property, but since based on the happening and non-happening of certain things, particularly happening of certain things, then deemed ownership will come into the picture. And as far as that deemed ownership is concerned, we should consider certain things. The transfer of rights to the spouse and the child. And if the person is a member of a society, the society is having the property, so many members are in that society, and I am the deemed ownership of that part of the land. A person in possessing of a property. I am having that property. I am using that property. Under certain circumstances, I am considered as the deemed owner. Then, a person having the right of the property for not less than 12 years. So, minimum of 12 years if you are having, there is a saying that, but it is challenged in the court. Okay, so there is a saying that if the person continuously possessing the land for more than 12 years, then he will be considered as the owner. Whether it is correct or not, that is different. Whereas as far as that income tax is concerned, it is named as deemed ownership. Okay, so in these things, that will gives you the idea about what is income from the house property. Please mind it, income from the house property in the sense, if the house property is let out and what the amount of rent we are getting from that let out property is considered as the income. But at the same time, only that rental income what we are receiving, is that rent alone is considered as the income? No. By considering some other things, that income of the property should be calculated. Actually, it comprises two things. One is GAV, gross annual value. Another one is net annual value. In short, it is denoted as NAV. What are they? First, what the rent we are actually receiving, what the amount of a standard rent prevailed for the property as per the Rent Control Act, what is the municipal value of the property, what is the fair rental value of the property. By comparing these things, we have to take how to calculate the gross annual value, net annual value, that is obviously the income of the property. Those things will be discussed in the next class.